Hi, this is Kerry Artak with Wicked Stocks, bringing you the daily Apple report from Monday, July 17th, 2023. Before I click through the charts, just want to encourage you to please click like, share, subscribe to the Wicked Stocks YouTube channel, and check out wickedstocks.com, where we offer a full suite of daily and weekly analytical videos just like this. Daily analysis in the Triple Q and the SPY, weekly analysis in the S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and the long bond ETF, the TLT, as well as two individual stock picks a week of 5 to 10 minute video format that you never see on YouTube that cater to the 3 to 5 week swing trader out to the 3 to 5 month near term investor, always looking for 20% moves on those underlying signals for those stocks. So check out wickedstocks.com. Now for the charts, let's jump to, I could start with this. Actually, I'm gonna go to this one. It's about the same thing, but I can able to make 2 points at once, several points at once, and that is to say that several months ago we settled above this what was a roughly an 18-month channel top at 169.51. And that then indicated the 222.78 long-term rising channel top as I think at the time I was mentioning kind of a 5 to 8 month objective. In other words, by the end of the year when that signal went off, and having settled a couple of months ago, above a month and a half ago actually, above the 182.94 previous all-time high from January of 22, we're certainly on the way to reaching 222.78 by the end of the year. I still consider this to be a by the end of the year objective. In other words, over the next 6 months, could be within 3 to 5, depending on volatility. Now, we've backed off a bit over the last couple of weeks, but there's no real sell signals at play over the midterm time horizon. I'll get to that in a moment. In fact, let's jump to the charts right now. This really sort of covers the week ahead in terms of the meaningful levels. I can go over the fact, and you're probably aware of the fact, if you've been watching the Apple report now for the last few weeks, that we did top out at this intermediate channel top I'd mentioned that is now at 198.97. It was lower in the lower 190s, I believe, at the time. Actually, it was the 194 handle. I think that was the high. So mid 190s. Anyway, we topped out here, and I'd mentioned that following a test of this channel top, that the channel bottom at 186.64 should be considered a 1 to 2 week target. Now we didn't actually test it, but we came close to testing it last week within several points. It is still there, still rising daily. 186.64, if tested this week, can absorb selling at least on a weekly basis, quite possibly through August trade. Because of that longer term buy signal, this sort of represents the nearer term updraft, if you will, in terms of as we move through the rest of July, this formation able to contain selling through the rest of the July, and once tested or above which the 198.97 channel top remains in reach over the next several weeks, within 3 to 5 days perhaps of closing above 193.97. So you could see 193.97 I have here. There's a session containment level, meaning it can contain daily buying pressures. It also has pivot point qualities. If we were to close in the coming days above 193.97, we should within probably 3 to 5 days reach back to this 198.97 channel top, which would of course be a new all-time high, where once again we can top out on a weekly, possibly multi-week basis. I'm going to keep it as a weekly resistance level though, because of the buy signal. You'll notice that this formation, I've got 186.64 as a 4-star multi-week containment, meaning it can contain selling into August trade. That is because of the updraft of that long-term buy signal. And I'm going to keep 198.97 as a mere 3-star resistance area, despite the fact that they're both the same formation. That is due to the fact, of course, that we're in a long-term buy signal. I don't really want to encourage overly aggressive selling at 198.97, assuming that we're going to top out here, say, through the rest of the year or through the rest of the quarter. On a weekly basis, sure. And yes, if we close above 198.97 over the next few weeks, that sets off a secondary buy signal of 210.70. That would be about a 2 to 3 week move, I think. And, over time, that 210.70, I'll go back to this chart here on the weekly chart, that is 213 even on the weekly chart. That actually converges later August with the 222.78 target anyway. And so there is a case being made, as I've been saying, that if we were to close above the 198.97 formation over the next couple of weeks, that 222 178 objective may just be a month or two away from being realized. So keep that in mind. Closing above 198.97 may well be the buy signal that ultimately yields 222.78 sooner than later. So let's go to the day itself. I know most of you are tuning in for the day, or many of you are tuning in for the day. Excuse me. Upside, I still have 191.47. This 5/8 upside Fibonacci over the last couple of weeks, extremes, has been containing buying pressures on a daily basis for the last few days. I'm going to keep it as an intraday resistance, meaning intraday containment, a better part of the day containment, but oftentimes the intraday containments wind up behaving as session containment levels. These are subjective assessments, of course. If we were to push through, especially open above 191.47 today, the 193.97 level is in reach on an intraday basis. Where we can place a daily high, as I mentioned earlier, it is the high settlement price. And if we close once again above 193.97 today, the 198.97 channel top probably 3 to 5 days away. So 3 to 5 day swing traders can have at 193.97, especially if we close above it. 198.97 our next 3 to 5 day target, where I might add not only 3 to 5 day swing traders can take profits or go short, but also the 2 to 3 week position traders who trade both sides of the market can play the short side. That could mean buying 186, 188 out of the money puts, the channel bottom at 186.64 that doesn't expire for at least several weeks. That would be one play. Inversely, if we were to close above 198.97, you could then reach, as I mentioned earlier, for those 220, 225 out of the money calls that don't expire for at least several months, because I do think that if we were to close above this 198.97 formation, we should see aggressive gains as we move into August trade, and by the end of September or sooner, that 222 area likely to be reached. Now for the downside today, 191.47 I mentioned is our intraday resistance. Our intraday support is nothing more than this simple channel bottom. Under other circumstances, I might have called this a weekly support level, but because it is just above the 186.64 channel bottom, I want to give it some breathing room for that 186.64 to possibly be tested. So 189.05, our intraday support level, 191.47, our intraday resistance. We could once again trade inside this zone all day long. But if we break 189.05 today, 186.64 is in reach, is expected, able to contain selling not only for the week, but even through the rest of July. And from here, we can turn on up to, once again, the 198.97 channel top within a matter of several weeks. So I will say that if we test 186.64 and you're not positioned, or there's a couple things I'll say. One is you can go long at 186.64. You can buy the Apple stock at 186.64. If you've done nothing, that is a good location to do so, good price location, because from here, we should move on up. Well, should is probably a strong word in the world of technical analysis, but holding above 186.64, I'm expecting the 198.97 formation once again within several weeks. So you can go long at 186.64. That could mean buying 200 out of the money calls that don't expire for at least several weeks. It could mean just buying the stock itself and holding out for the channel top at 198.97. That'll be higher within several weeks. It'll be in the low 200s, at which point you could take profits perhaps and then play the short side. As I've been mentioning, we could trade inside this well-defined channel area for the next month. Now, if we do close below 186.64, that is a meaningful sell signal into August trade. The following 2 to 3 weeks, the next 2 to 3 weeks, likely then to fall into the lower 270s, lower 170s. 172.64 is a longer-term channel bottom that is based on all the price activity following the January low, and 174.88 is a rising one-third speed line, trend defining in its own right, that is based on the January low against that recent high from a couple of weeks ago. This zone, well suited to contain selling into the fourth quarter, quite possibly through the rest of the year, given, once again, the long-term buy signal that was elicited a couple of months, 2 or 3 months ago, above 169.51. So I think that pretty much covers it. I'm pushing on 10 minutes here. I'm going to leave it at that. Please click like, share, subscribe, and check out wickedstocks.com.